Morning. Morning, everybody. Hope you are well. Let me know if I'm coming through okay. Darren, Ash, Efo, Martin, Silver. Hope you guys are well on this. What day is it today? Wednesday? Wednesday morning in the markets. Am I coming through okay? Pretty sure yes. Loud and clear. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's just get straight into it, shall we? So, SPX this morning, we are coming off a little bit. Look at this 4-hour chart. I'm not massively worried yet. I know my hunch was that this moves to the upside. Again, it doesn't have to happen, but I'm not massively worried about this move down. Oh, 1 second. There we go. This move down just yet. We're out here retesting this support zone that we had support previously, waiting to see how the market reacts to it. Now, on this 4-hour, I know we've had a little bit of a mess here, but for me, I can just consider this a push to the upside. Slight break above, slight fake out, but we were a little bit extended. Again, indexes do move slightly different from Forex pairs. Now, at the moment, we just, for me, I'm still considering this a pullback, albeit there is strength in it. So it does have a little bit of well, it does give me a little bit of debate on whether this ABCs comes through. However, as I said, I'm not massively worried about it yet. I think today will be an interesting day on what happens with this SPX, with the stock market. If we do decide to get some dip buyers or some pullback buyers in, that would make sense to me, creating possibly a head and shoulders here, possibly a right shoulder before we move to the upside. However, this particular bar does put a little bit of doubt in my mind because of the strength of it. So I think we're basically roughly here where we were before. Let's see how the market reacts to this area. If we get a push on, I'll be a bit more confident in saying head and shoulders, possibly C-wave continuation from that drop. If we do break below, I might have to change my sentiment here, saying, okay, possibly we get another leg down as part of that complex corrective. But my bias would be, what would be my bias today? My bias would probably be wait until London open and watch this 4-hour. If we do get a close below, you could say a bit more risk-off nature. If we do get some bullish pressure coming in, possibly a hammer bar if this closes and a push-up over London, I'd be a bit more confident in saying that head and shoulders is possibly forming and that C-wave is being validated. Again, up into this area we were thinking, this anchor area, this trend line area, I mean, possibly up here, but certainly a push to the upside. So it's still neutral grounds for me. We're seeing this Aussie quite a bit. If I bring in the Forex or the FinViz here, I think we'll probably see a bit more risk on, but maybe I'll eat my words. Yeah, we're seeing a bit more risk on. The pound is weak, yen's there, Swiss is down here, and the Aussie, New Zealand, and CAD up at the top. So right now it is a bit more risk on as we're seeing on the charts. Although there is that disconnect, which you probably would expect in times like these. But yeah, bias, I would say wait for London open, wait for that market to tell you if we push up, if we push down, then looking at buying that yen, looking at buying the Swiss would probably strengthen up. Again, the opposite would be true for movement to the upside. So as I usually say, let the market tell you. It's a bit difficult in these situations, but let the market tell you on London open which way it goes. And if you find setup, pushing on, buying the Aussie or Kiwi or CAD against that Swiss, against the yen, it would make a lot bit of sense to me. And certainly the opposite is true as well. However, the dollar is pushing. Dollar's pushing. We didn't quite get our gap fill. I was completely wrong on this one. I was thinking some negativity, so I'll eat my hat on that. And dollar is now pushing to the upside. Again, from a technical perspective, it ain't very nice. The chart ain't very nice, but, the trend is up. So I think in terms of the dollar, yeah, if you find a setup in the dollar, would it make sense to me? Yes, in terms of that longer-term trend, it would. We're starting to get this 20 curling up now from a reaction from this area. I do think dollar to the upside fundamentally makes sense. I just don't like this chart. We could call this, well, it's not a breakout pattern for us, but it technically, it's not that bad for a quasi cup with handle, breaking through that area, possibly come down and retest it for continuation to the upside. But Yeah, with what this chart is telling me now, with these pushes, we've got to be thinking that dollar continues in that strength. So, yeah, I mean, dollar to the upside, SPX, wait for that decision would be my personal bias. However, look what we're getting here, roughly around these highs, a little bit of a reaction, which again, because of the move we've had, you probably would expect. So maybe looking here, if you get an indication from the market, reason to enter or your RTE on a potential pullback. Remember, we could come down to that 50. I don't know if we consider this enough for me to take my fib from here to here, but some people would. I just think maybe we get a reaction here before continuation to the upside, but don't discount that we could just push on London Open. So that'll be my bias for the dollar and the SPX today. Wait for the market, and dollar potential upsides on a reason to enter would make sense. Stock market went down today. How's the dollar still strong? Plain ignorance here. Well, I still think in terms, it's kind of, it's a hard one to answer, Martin, I would say. It's a bit more harder to answer. So stock market went down. I would expect the dollar to go up. Fundamentally, in terms of that safe haven, the dollar is still that safe haven asset if the stock market is selling off, because I think of that flight to cash. Now, with the fundamental and the economic situation, or the political situation that we're in, war that we are in, it makes sense that money is flowing into this dollar. So I think with what we have to kind of go with right now is things are going to move a little bit differently than what we expect. But that's okay, because if we use the technicals, we're seeing, okay, a break above structure. We're getting a decent basing pattern here. The daily, albeit it doesn't look nice, but we do have this, which is still, I mean, it's okay. It's not a breakout for me, obviously, but it's still not a bad structure for movement to the upside. And we do have some bullish pressure here. We're getting a reaction off these highs, possibly retest before continuation. So I think the best thing we do is move to these higher time frames, Martin, and kind of go with what I would consider the trend, and that's probably your easiest bet right now. So, yeah, I can't give you a clear answer, unfortunately, because, as I said, I've never been in this situation. But in terms of stock market down, dollar up, that makes sense to me. It just depends on what, and it would make sense if this SPX does fall, and you know, it would give me a bit more confidence in saying dollar to the upside. But if this comes up and dollar goes up, you know, I mean, it depends on how this dollar wants to act. As I said, post-COVID, it was acting a bit more as a risk-off asset. Pre-COVID, stock market up, dollar up. Post-COVID, stock market up, dollar down. So, yeah, trade what we see, not what we think. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly right. We're trading what we see, not what we think. And that is so true in times like this, because there's so many fundamental bias that you can have in times like this. Like, you know, this is one of the reasons why I wouldn't be surprised from this weekly if the stock market does rise. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it's not, because everybody thinks that this should fall. And how many times have we seen in the market when everybody thinks, I mean, you talk about retail sentiment. Remember, most of the time retail is wrong, which is, I think you are talking about that this morning, Martin, right? Retail sentiment. Which is why sometimes I like to go against it, saying, well, maybe we have fallen. You know, it is a decent drop. Think about where we've come from 2020. This was the COVID drop, and this is the Russia-Ukraine drop. It is a significant drop in this market. So, yeah, let's wait till market open to see that. But in terms of why it's happening, it's there's so many reasons why it could be happening. I just prefer to think, this is what I'm seeing. I'm happy to go with that. Trade what you see, not what you think. Exactly right, Martin. I got burned on FX Blue currency strength more than once. Yeah, so that's, I remember using it when I would have, for some reason I was a scalper at a point in time a couple of years ago, or a fair few years ago now, where I used this Forex sentiment. So I'd bring up my FX FinViz here. I would go down to the charts and say, right, I'm going to buy the New Zealand against the yen. What you normally find is they're actually firstly quite extended, and a lot of the times that I lost trade, I'm thinking, why the hell am I losing a trade here? New Zealand's strongest and the yen is the weakest. But it doesn't quite work like that. That's why I think I get a sense of what's strong and what's weak using these charts. Not saying that I don't think this is a bad thing to use. It's good for like a little snapshot of what's going on. I think better for your risk sentiment, right? I think this is better for a risk sentiment to kind of say, okay, maybe we are a bit more risk off, or risk on, sorry, than risk off. But yeah, I mean, look, I think it can be used, but I think you've got to add it as a part of your confluence rather than a proper proper currency strength meter used on its own. But I think you know that as well. I think you know that. Morning, Omar. Morning, Audrey. Morning, James. I'll just let you type Ash before I move on to the watch list. Oh, you stopped typing? Okay, let's get into the watch list then. This is a question for this morning, right? So I'm looking at Aussie yen here. Okay, and I'm looking at New Zealand yen. Yeah, you stopped. No worries. So I'm looking at Aussie yen, so on this 4-hour chart. Okay, so tell me why, or tell me what's the difference in me saying that this is not quite ready and needs a bit more compared to New Zealand yen, which is certainly ready and actually close to possibly being a trade. So let me see if I can bring these two charts up. How can I do this? Let me go here. I'll do this actually. Question for a Wednesday morning. Here we go. Chart window, Aussie yen, New Zealand yen. Chart window. 4 hours. 4 hour. I don't know if you can see that well, but hopefully you can. So I'm looking at here on Aussie yen. It's probably better for me to do this. Here we go. Here we go. And I'm looking at here on New Zealand yen. So what's the difference between these two charts, and why is New Zealand yen closer to being a setup than Aussie yen? It's actually it's a little bit of a difficult question, I would say. But for me in my trading strategy, why would you say that? Tag on the zone, end of cup side. So are you talking New Zealand yen, Ash? Okay, well, you got it quite quickly then. Well done, yeah. So if this had pushed up here, this would be almost ready, right? Because we've got to consider this impulse from this section, which means we've tagged the area here, and we've only got this coming back, right? Which for me is not enough. So if I zoom in on this so it's easier to see. Here we go. So if this had pushed up here and tagged that zone, remember, the reason why we want the tags is we want these sellers to be getting less money. And remember, markets are made up of individuals, i.e. our level, to be less significant as we go on with our pattern, creating those higher highs, squeezing into that area. So this is why this is not quite valid. So we have to take our impulse from here, which means, is this enough for this to be digested? I don't think quite just yet. So the difference there with NZD-JPY is we have got that tag. So if I zoom in here, and I'll fix these levels, I'll probably, in terms of the actual level where I'll be looking, is probably there, roughly about that area. But we have got a tag from this V reversal. I know we've had a gap, but that's fine. I'm using this as a V reversal, and we've got this pullback, which is enough for this impulse to be digested. Okay, we've got a morning star here, albeit not on a great volume signature, or not the volume signature we want. But we tagged this area, and we're looking to digest with that 20-period catch-up. So, yeah, well done, Ash. I actually thought it would take longer to get that. I was about to say the consolidation zone is stronger on the right one. Yeah, I mean, it is as well, because, you know, just from looking at it, albeit it's a smaller pattern, but it doesn't mean it's invalid, right? It doesn't mean it's invalid, but we just seem to be, from here, digested enough, you know, and what we can do is probably put a fib on it, right? So where are we saying the probably top of structure is maybe around here. So we pull back, we tried to test underneath that 61.8, we didn't get there. Sellers did not take control, so we haven't closed underneath that 61, but we've had a pullback between that 40-60 box. So we changed that to, we changed this to here, where we're considering, right, we have to be an impulse to the top of structure here. And I mean, well, that's probably a bad example. However, We have pulled back to the 38.2. But what I mean is, in terms of price action, even though we've done that, you remember GJ, it still doesn't look like it's digested quite enough for me. You look on NZD JPY on the 1 hour. Okay, I'll look at that I'll go to NZD JPY because that is closer. So NZD JPY, I'm essentially looking for a 20-period catch-up here, a little bit of consolidation before taking that break to the upside. I like where it is on a daily. I mean, we look where we're just kind of consolidating underneath this 200. We've not closed above, but visualizing what price would look like as we move and we break above that area would look pretty good, right? From here, here. Again, looking less likely that this trend continues from a technical aspect, in which case the risk reward is okay because we look to get up to this quite significant zone. So NZD JPY looks okay. So 1 hour, what are you looking at? So you're probably looking NZD JPY 1 hour. If we take the same area, I mean, this is where we get a little bit more pernickety on the 1 hour chart, because this is where I would consider where we're taking our area from, which means here we've not got a tag yet. So if this came up, then you could be looking at this potentially, which I would like, yeah, breakout retest, move to the upside. But the fact that we haven't got a tag there means if we've come up and when we do this, we would need to do this to create that head and shoulders at, for me, this significant zone, or basically where the market for me is respecting. So it's very slight technical things, but they do make a difference. They do make a difference. So notice how the areas on the 1 hour is different from the 4 hour, because you're going to say, well, Ryan, you've got the same area here, but it's slightly different on these 4 hour charts. Very similar to euro pound, right? So if we look at euro pound, okay, the 4 hour, we've not closed the gap, so it doesn't look as nice on that 4 hour, but in the daily, you can see it on this wick. Well, we've kind of got movement into this previous bar, so it changes the kind of look of the charts because of it. So it does something, I think it comes with a little bit of experience, but probably good to note. In terms of I'm not saying it can't be profitable if you don't do that, obviously. In terms of how I trade and how I test, I found out that tag of the area is very important, because we like to see that area become less significant, because we're breaking out from it, right? So we're breaking out from it, so we want to see, and we want to avoid those 70% of fake outs. So that's how I consider doing that. Yeah. So yeah, NZD JPY, not quite there for me, but I do like the bias. Hey Ryan, can you take a look at this Aussie New Zealand? Yeah, I'll take a look at Aussie New Zealand after I finish my watch list, Omar. So I've done so Euro Pound. If I go back to Euro Pound, I've done Aussie Yen, Anthony Joshua, and I've done New Zealand Yen. So Euro Pound. So Euro Pound on this daily is still setting up. I would like this to come properly and give us a tag like this, but creating that right shoulder looks to be still in process. Wanting to get this 20 curling over, so if we come down, accumulate, something like that to get me in, still developing. Not going to go massively into it. We talked about it yesterday. One I do like is this UZAR. And I'll go into your charts after I finish. So this UZAR is actually not too bad. If we look at it from here, right, we've got a reversal pullback, push through and kind of squeezing into this zone. Again, I need that 20 catch up. I hope this doesn't close above, in which case we can look for a breakout retest for movement to the upside. So if we do get a close underneath this area and that slight bit of accumulation, then it looks pretty good for me. From here, remember I'm taking it from here, V reversal, pull back into consolidation, kind of creating our head and shoulders after that V reversal, which is good. I know there's wicks to the upside. I don't really care about that. I'm mainly looking at the area which I think is most significant. The daily looks potentially like we're at a zone where we could be changing trend. So from here, and not only that, but we're kind of coming out of this channel as well. We know the dollar looks relatively strong, right? And if the stock market does decide to move down, this will move up. So in terms of RTM, ready to move, absolutely, I think so. Let's move to the weekly. You know, we're getting support roughly around this 200 here. Um, but then we're kind of pushing through this on the weekly. It's in between the 20 and the 200. So the weekly is probably not as nice, but we do have this from recent price action. We've got this and we've got this. You would expect of this to move after this outside bullish engulfer here. We've not got that now, okay? However, we could be getting a kind of quasi rising 5 pattern, potentially. You know, I know we don't have the outside bullish engulfer, but we still got a hammer bar. Not on the volume signature we want. We do have higher volume here. We do have a bit of volume here. So if we close out the week quite decently, again, it would give us a little bit of confidence that would be okay for movement to the upside. So I don't mind that. You know, I don't mind that. Let's see how it develops over the next couple of days. But with our 20s, just a little bit too far away right now. I need that catch up on user. But I don't mind it. Don't mind it. One of my favorite pairs, user. What else have I got? USD yen is still got a ways to go. We're not stopped out of this on the aggressive strategy yet. I actually don't really like this entry anymore, to be honest with you, but I'll keep it in. Good for learning, as I said. Testing. Test. 1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay, am I back? Okay, I think I'm back there. Yeah, whenever I touch this mic, because the connection is not great, I think it just automatically disconnects. Am I back? I think I'm back. Yeah. Okay. Great. So yeah, USD JPY, but that's it for me today. New Zealand yen is decent. Aussie yen got a bit to go, and USAR got a little bit to go. Basically, we need those 20-period catch-ups on New Zealand yen and USD ZAR. Okay, let's get a look at what you're looking at. Okay, let me go into silvers because I know silver was asking about this, or saying that you weren't allowed an extension. So yeah, they won't give you an extension, but maybe if you ask for I don't know whether you want to ask for a freeze or when do you finish? When do you finish silver for your challenge? Because of war. When do you finish silver? Just let you type. What date is it? Yeah, so basically, I on the 10th. Okay, so you've still got some time. And where are you? What are you down? You're down by 1 or 2%, right? 2%. Oh, right. Okay. Okay. I mean that's that's okay. I know it's a little bit worried. You got time constraints, but you definitely still have time. Absolutely. I mean, most of the money comes in a couple of days, right? But yeah, one thing you can do if you're thinking I don't see anything really possibly setting up is freeze it, but also that may become an issue if you see something like tomorrow, for example, and you think, shit, I need 48 hours to unfreeze this account. That's the only issue with it. So there is risk and reward of it. If you say you froze it and you had a setup that you would have won, you'll be annoyed because why did I freeze that? I just needed one trade. So plenty of time, mate. 10th of March is what day is that? Thursday. So yeah, you still got another week. Still got another week or so. Obviously, you've got Bitcoin Friday, Saturday if needed be, or sorry, Saturday, Sunday if needed. So plenty of time. Be patient with it. Be patient. Okay, 225. I kind of like this actually. 225. Well, just from the chart you're sending. Wouldn't the structure be right being be bigger than the base structure of V reversal? Yeah, so I mean with the V reversal it's slightly different, right? With the cup with handle, it's easier to kind of see. So where's the New Zealand yen? Right, so we're coming, like I said, the V reversal, because we had a slight steeper movement, right, coming in here. For example, if we have our 30-50% rule here, it's like this. Okay, so we're talking about, in terms of the cup with handle, it's better with that 30 to 50 because it's easier to see the range, like as I'll probably just talk about now with the 225. Right, but with the V reversal, it's slightly different. So we've got to just think about what price action looks like as it pulls back, right? Using that fibs, using that 20, and using our eyes to see whether this looks nice from this steep, because these V reversals are usually steep, right? So we're looking mainly at where this has come from here. So it's a good question, but we can't really use it as such on sorry, Silver. I keep seeing blue. Sorry, Silver. Omar. So it's a good question, but that's why we kind of shift it a little bit for the V reversals. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So 225. Let's look at the 225. 225. It's broken through, right? Or it's potentially breaking through here. So if we use it here, it's not. It's kind of at the edge of the realms, but it's. I mean, in terms of price action, it does look okay. You know, it does look okay. We've had a big basing structure, but then we've had a decent digestive structure as well. Within this, we've got a pullback, which is quite good. If we had, for example, if we had this push down here in a one impulse, it would look slightly different. So we're kind of at the edge of what we like on the 225. Okay, but what the 225 has, let's see if it has higher time frame confluence. We're here. We had a push on. We're kind of failing from that push, movement back to the downside. The only issue would be the 4 hour is if we're getting that head and shoulders. You know, if we're getting this, but we have had this. Break underneath here is what you're looking at. So basically, if you get your breakout retest you're looking for, you would actually have liked this to break a little bit harder, let's say, down here and then retest before moving to the downside. But if you get your complex catalyst for movement to the downside, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. 225. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Push through, retest, movement to the downside. It would kind of take away from that head and shoulders. The outside bullish engulfer, which you would expect to take, has not taken, even though these two are quite bullish. It is on that 20, so it's okay. Weekly. Yeah, look, I mean, if you get a break and close underneath, I would understand you taking the trade. Put it that way. I think that's the easiest way for me to example. First major resistance in terms of TPs. I mean, you've got good risk reward on that, right? Down here, potentially where the market could get some reaction. If we do break underneath, breakout retest would be certainly a good call. I don't particularly like this on the hourly, but London is just opening up. So, yeah, if you get a breakout retest and a good catalyst, I wouldn't mind the trade, Silver. I wouldn't mind it. Okay, Omar, Aussie, New Zealand. Let's have a look at Aussie, New Zealand. Yeah, I think I was looking at Aussie, New Zealand. I'm sure I've got my level in here. The only reason I didn't like Aussie, New Zealand break was because we're kind of getting a different area where the market's respecting, and I was worried that this would be a bit more of a possible loss of momentum here, because we don't really want to see, I know we've only got it once, but we don't really want to see this loss of momentum, and then it moves to the upside. But also the other way of looking at it is, well, we've got this, and this. You could get head and shoulders, but this is actually pretty good as consolidation from this. I mean, it's not something that I could take, but doesn't mean it doesn't look nice to the upside. What time frame are you looking at? 1 hour. Let's have a look at the 1 hour. I mean, daily's nice. Daily's nice. There is some wicks to the upside, rejecting that 20. But in terms of it does break above, you've got this, right, from this movement. Simple pullback from that healthy upward trending market. In terms of RTM, it makes sense. So Aussie New Zealand going with that trend, right? For me, going with that trend anyway. This would be a worry on the weekly. But then you've got this on the next week. So it kind of gives you a little bit more confidence with it. On the 1 hour. This has kind of ruined things. What's happened now? It's kind of ruined it a little bit. If we didn't have that, you could look at this from here, which absolutely would be relevant for a breakout retest. So this movement to the downside has kind of ruined this for me. Unless this does this, where you can look at this from here, that would make sense again. You kind of got a hammer bar as well. But the fact that it's doing this now would mean I would have to take this off unless it resets up. So it was looking good until that movement to the downside, Omar. Maybe you put that before it happened. Your zone. I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't say that, Omar. I wouldn't say that because you're just looking for a break of the area, right? So if we get a proper breakout, you'll know when it's a proper breakout. Come back and retest for movement to the upside. So yeah, well done. Not bad. Yeah, it's not bad, but then it's just come off, so it'd have to reset up. Anything else I had? No, Martin. On my strategy, the V reversal on New Zealand yen is looking more like a bearish scalp to the 200. I know the way I apply the V reversal is slightly different, but it has been working for me. Great. Specifically, I have to add the 3 candle confirmation after breaking the upper or lower side of the box. Looking more like a bearish scalp to the 200, so down here. Okay. Specifically, after I add the 3 candle confirmation after breaking the upper or lower side of the box. So you're talking here and here, right? So if you break underneath, you'll be looking at selling it down to here. Yeah, I think if it breaks underneath for New Zealand yen, I mean, you could get potentially even more than that, really. New Zealand yen. New Zealand yen. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight now, right? Because it's moving up, but let's kind of wait and see. 3 candle. So your box was here and here, right? So are you saying, Martin, if this breaks above here, you take this trade? Is that what your kind of strategy is? If it breaks above the V here with this pullback, or are you looking up here? Are you happy with it here? And again, this is a genuine question. I'm not saying it's right or wrong at all. If it works for you, it works for you. But if you're looking for a break above there, is that essentially, or a break underneath here for buying it or selling it, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, now, in terms of breaking, if you like the kind of V reversals as we go, this is even better for you, right? Because it's better than being a kind of impulse from deep, basically, for movement to the upside. So you've got your slight pullback. If you're looking to take this as a V reversal straight away, then this price action, if it does indeed decide to move on, makes it a little bit healthier, right? So, yeah, makes sense. Once it breaks, I'll wait for a 3 candle confirmation to tell me where the trade is trying to go. So the 3 candles. Okay, so and I'm just trying to I'm trying to understand. Like I'm just asking. So if it breaks, right? What in terms of 3 candles, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a retest, We're looking for like kind of price acceptance. If we stay above this zone for 3 candles, you're happy to take this to the upside. Is that how you're working in your strategy? I'm interested. Yeah, I'm genuinely interested when people say I trade this way. I am actually interested in how you do it. There's thousands of ways to trade a market. Thousands of profitable ways to trade a market. A retest and a candle acceptance is what I look at. Okay, good, perfect. Yeah, I do think it's in a nice place. I do think it's in a nice place, and I mean, maybe we could be all aboard this train. This trade. Well, me not for on this account. Potentially, if it does, I might actually send a request today because I like where it is, you know. So I can't take it if it breaks today 4, 8, 12. Well, I maybe I could. What do I do? What do I do? I do like it. Because the thing is, I could send a request. I'm just talking about my personal 200K. I could send a request today to unfreeze it for tomorrow. In which case it doesn't set up, and then you know I go. I mean, it's not really a big deal. I've still got until the probably 3rd or 4th of April, or I don't, and it does set up tomorrow, and I can't take it. Anyway, that's something for me to deal with. But yeah. Here, example of a trade I'm already in on 1-to-1 profit. Aussie dollar. Here. New stop loss after TP1. You entered in here. First candle. Okay. So this is kind of like a fake out V reversal, right? Fake out, push up, fake out, movement to the downside. Aussie dollar. I mean, no, that's all right. I mean, a fake out V reversal is do you know what, Martin? That is a great idea. Not something I ever would have thought about, or not something I ever thought about, a fake out V reversal. In terms of the premise of your strategy, in terms of what you're thinking with this, if that's what you're thinking, a fake out V reversal entry in here, that is a great idea. Personally, RSI, are you using this RSI as well? 200. Well done. Good. See, I mean, there you go, guys. We can give you some tools that may help you, or Andrew can give you some tools that may help you. And what Martin's done here is modified it to how he likes to trade it. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. You know, we're not here to produce absolute clones, and this is exactly what we want to see. You know, some people will be liking exactly how I do it, and that's absolutely fine. I know it's profitable, but you'll notice things yourself. Everybody has a different set of eyes. Everybody's got a different thing in here. A lot of people will probably be smarter than me in here, and you'll see things that I potentially don't even see. So well done, mate. Well done. Okay, if there's anything else you want me to look at, let's have a quick look at Bitcoin and gold before I hop off, because I know a lot of people like that, and I personally do as well. Well, I don't think we're going to get to the 30K, but we don't know, do we? What could we be seeing on Bitcoin? I mean, it's not... I don't want to make the mistake of saying this is bullish yet, because it's not. But it certainly looks good. You know, now that we've had, I mean, it's different because we had our initial one. Now we've had our second one. I mean, people might call this a double bottom. I mean, yeah, I would understand that logic. A little bit of movement here. We still have S200 to contend with, but maybe something like that. If we can get, you know, involved in Bitcoin. I do always like to get involved in Bitcoin or crypto potential trades because of the way they move. So maybe there's something in that Bitcoin, but it certainly looks pretty good. Looks pretty good now. Getting a little bit of shift in dynamic, aren't we? With the just how positive people are with this crypto market. I would still keep my level there. I mean, you'd probably have to do that to make it a little bit better, but I mean, I wouldn't be buying it here. Could be could be this, but I would rather wait for that for a potential trade in Bitcoin, but it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Longevity-wise, let's see, though. Let's see. Still got some things to contend with. I'm not going to go all out and buy Bitcoin right now. Let's have a look at gold. Gold is pushing on. Gold is pushing on. I mean, gold, actually, I don't really want to look at gold. Gold, the trend is up. I wouldn't buy it, but the trend is up right now. Just a little bit messy for me. A little bit messy for me. I'm not going to be involved in that at all. But I don't know if Fonny's here. She might be watching on this catch-up. But so we didn't have that confirmation of a lower low for our kind of Dow theory. So it kind of pushed on from there. So that was I think you took a note from that yesterday, Fonny. So there you go. You've not got an actual lower low formed because we haven't broken structure lows. Dow theory. A fake out V reversal is the best way to describe it. Honestly, for me, adapting the V reversal to my personal liking has been a train-changing experience. Excellent. Good to hear, Martin. That's good to hear. Yeah, there's a few things that have been a trade-changing experience for me. One of them was volume. Volume was one that was a trade-changing experience. 20 period was one that was a trade-changing experience. Just kind of, I guess, and also the development of your price action experience, I would say. Knowing when you're feeling like you should take a trade that you know, like that kind of FOMO that you want to be in, but you know it's not quite ready. Knowing when price action looks a bit more digested. I mean, yes, it does help with experience, but sorry guys, I just lost my chain of thought. But yeah, there's little things that do kind of shift your trading and make it go like here to here, and that's what we're doing. That's what I did here. You know, adding in as I go through my journey, as I said, like adding in. I didn't even know. Oh, sorry. I mean, adding in context. Right? So the context prior to the break, I didn't even have that. All I had was a breakout retest. If you read the book Naked Forex, and actually it was a good strategy, but I just didn't apply it psychologically very well. So adding in this context prior to a break, cup with handle, I mean the simple things, head and shoulders, V reversal. Adding in the break, ideally like, yes, okay, we'd like to see volume on the break, but we can negate that if we have a very good pattern and good higher time frame confluence. Higher time frame confluence came a bit more towards the end. I realized how important it was for my trades to have higher time frame confluence, have things I like about it, have things I like about this retest, the ABC. I mean, the ABC, absolutely trend-changing experience for me. Absolutely, that was my mentor. ABC, my absolute favorite thing to see, obviously. And then I learned that these breaks of B waves are and this was me personally that I really liked. You know, my favorite type of break, right? And yeah, it's just a process as you go along. And that's why I think keeping a trade journal, trade diary, you don't have to do it every day, but, you know, maybe once a month, maybe when you're feeling down, maybe when you're feeling up, when you know, you can just look. Again, it's something that I think you just look back on. You know, I'm not saying it's going to change your actual physical trading, but you can also write notes in it to remember. But when you're going through quiet times, when you're going through bad times, looking through that trading diary, realizing, do you know what? I remember when I was there in 2016 or whatever, 2017. Look where I am now. I'm not going to do that again. So, yeah. Trading diaries, and there are here, if you would like to purchase them. I don't make any money off them, but I did get them on the RTFX store. There you go. I don't really plug these anymore. I'll plug them. Let's have a little plug this morning. Trading checklists if you want them, and watch list, etc. on the RTFX store. Right, anything else you would like me to look at before I head off? I'll let you guys type. I'll pick one up from you when I go see Messi in the last World Cup. Oh yeah, there we go. That's well, actually, you know what the horrible thing is? Scotland are meant to be playing Ukraine in the end of March for the World Cup playoffs, but I don't know. I don't even know what's going to happen with that. But anyway, I guess there's more important things, right? So, right, guys, have a great day. Remember to trade safe. If I take anything, I will let you know. And yeah, I'll see you all in the morning. Peace.